Most top pro time trialists tend to hide their power numbers so the competition has no information about their pacing or aerodynamics. But Jakob Söderqvist doesn't care if you see that stuff, and his numbers are absolutely insane. At just 22 years old, Jakob Söderqvist has been a podium machine at World Tour and .pro level time trials. He dominated the U23 Time Trial World Championships, winning by over a minute. Today, we'll be diving into 3 of his best performances, ranked by how insane the watts are. Let's dive in.
The start of the final rider, Jakob Söderqvist, the favourite for this individual time trial this afternoon.
2025 Worlds were held on a hilly course at 1,600 meters of altitude in Rwanda, meaning many riders struggled to produce good power. He averaged just under 400 watts for the 38.5-minute time trial, which, even at altitude, is not all that impressive for an 83-kilogram rider. But when you dive deeper into the effort, it becomes more revealing. On the opening flat section, he did 430 watts for 9 minutes. Then, he smashed the first climb at 500 watts for 5 minutes. He got 3.5 minutes of recovery on the descent, with his heart rate dropping from 182 to 164. For the second climb, which was much shallower, he did 455 watts for 6.5 minutes. Then, he gets a final bit of recovery, doing 260 watts for 8 minutes. His heart rate reaches a minimum of 142, which is absolutely crazy for an all-out time trial. Then, on the final cobbled section, he cranks out 500 watts for 5 minutes. This all totals for a normalized power of 435 watts for 38 minutes. Given the altitude, his world's performance was very impressive, but it gets much crazier. The competition at the Tour of Holland was very strong for a .1 race, with riders like Dan Houle, Yves Lampaert, and Ethan Hayter taking the start. On the windy 15-kilometer loop, Söderqvist averaged no less than a nuclear 480 watts for 17 minutes. The course included almost 20 corners, and he punched at 800 to 1,000 watts out of each one. He positive split his power, doing just under 490 watts for the first 10 minutes, and then cruising back at 460. He finished second on the stage, 3 seconds behind the much smaller Ethan Hayter. If it wasn't for the blustery wind, which advantages smaller riders, Söderqvist probably would have won. The Tour of Holland prologue was held at night on a technical 4-kilometer course, with rain earlier in the day. Söderqvist hides the beginning and end of his rides as a safety measure, but with short prologues, it means that a large proportion of the ride is hidden. And you need to go to the Power Curve tab to see the averages for the entire ride, which includes the hidden part. Absolutely bonkers. Mind you, this was done on a time trial bike, with a solid fifth of the time being spent coasting or cornering. On the regular analysis tab, you can see that he's doing 600 to 700 watts sustained on the straights. Insane. Surprisingly, he finished 45 hundredths of a second back from the winner, who was again Ethan Hayter. On such a technical course, cornering matters as much as power, and that likely gave the much more experienced Hayter the edge. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing.